What's going on, YouTube, man? It's your boy, XRyuChiOniX Gaming. Well, I don't wrap it up for you. I don't sugarcoat it for you. Let's go get this shit to you raw, man. In today's video, we're going to go over the final verdict for the new hero, the new Aztec hero in For Honor. And we're going to be going over the tier list. We're going to break up in aspects of the solos, which is your 1v1s or your 4s. We're going to be going over the strengths and weaknesses of the character and potential nerfs that may come to the character in the future, because I do predict that he will be nerfed. So let's get right into it. Let's not waste any time. First things first, we're going to start with the solos or the duels aspect, which is primarily your 1v1s in the actual duel game mode or the ranked game mode. So with that being said, I do have him still A tier based on my prediction video. I think I pretty much called everything how it was going to be. I have him being a nice, strong A tier character. When I mean a strong A tier character, that means he fits very well into the A tier category, and he competes very well and competitively amongst the other A tier heroes within the game. So I got him a solid, strong A tier hero there because of the sheer amount of pressure that he can put on you. He's able to force you into making reads to get out of the mix-ups. I know a lot of you guys are probably going to disagree here. Maybe you may agree here, but right now you probably haven't ran into the guys who are actually going to be playing this character after this whole first 2 weeks to a month and a half is up, because of the early access, and people are going to buy it 2 weeks later when it's now only purchasable for Steel. Right now, you're not going to see those guys who are really good with him, but if you do run into them, you kind of know how strong he can be in the right hands, simply because of the bashes. His bread and butter is bashes. A lot of the community do not like bash style offense. I can understand why people do not like bash style offense, but his bash has a twist to it where it's not necessarily going to be stamina drained. It's more of the offensive damage type of bash, where it's going to do actual physical damage to the character itself. And that is actually a more menacing bash. You have to take a little bit more serious, because you're not going to be able to just to get out of, dodging and oh, you lose a little stamina. No, you're taking direct damage. And it's you have to take it a little bit more serious. And then you have the feightable in-chain bash. It gets a little, looks more pressurable. So he's one of those characters we can't really not even have him anything below A tier because of the feightable bash. He's got the 400 millisecond in-chain lights as well. He also has a instantaneously hyper armor zone that can also be in-chain zone, as well as a zone finisher. So that right there already puts him minimum strong to high B tier. So I could see if you don't want to have him B or don't want to have him A, but I don't see anybody having him lower than B. I did put a poll out, and I had people picking C and D and trying to argue that he's a C or D tier hero, which is not the case. His strengths right now, obviously, is his kit. His kit is very hard to deal with because of really just how he plays. It's a bash style offense. A lot of people do not like bash style offenses, but the bashing is actually feightable, and it does actually do a lot of damage. The weakness is he doesn't really have a lot of guarantees. Some people are starting to figure out now, but the bashes do not actually guarantee you a light. It kind of just, boom, it hits you, and you can swap the sides up. You can actually bash into another bash and get a finisher, which will do like 32 damage. If you do in-chain bash, the in-chain bash is now no longer 10 damage, it's 18 damage. And then you follow up with a bash finisher, it finishes up with 22 damage. So just for those two bashes alone is already 40 damage, plus the 13 damage that you get with the light attack. So a light and two bashes is already 53 damage. So we're looking at a character who can do quite a bit of damage for you making the wrong reads. And he's just really overall really good. I think they did a good job of making him very strong, but not overpowered in the sense where, man, there's really nothing you can do. I think if they would have had him having hyper armor on the heavy chains like they did with Medjay, that would have been put him a little bit too much. So I did see why they did put it on there. That's why me personally, I have him as a strong A tier. He competes very well against like Shinobi and just really all the other A tiers. He competes. I think he has a very good fair chance to compete against any of the S tier characters too. That's why I have him strong A tier for that. I think that about covers it really. It's really just, forcing your way to deal with it. I will be having a how to beat the hero video coming out. I don't think anyone's going to do that, but I'm going to do it. I have found a way to beat him pretty consistently. I think I found some pretty good tips that you guys can learn from that. So once I put it together and do the edits and stuff, I'll get that video out as soon as possible. Going over into the 4v4s, here is where we're going to have a little bit of discussion because this is the aspect I think they're going to actually nerf him. And I think that it's going to come. It has to come because now we have to introduce everything. And I know someone's going to go to the comments about the first feat. The first feat needs to be nerfed. The first feat needs to go. That is actually very, 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 what's the word? I don't know the word. I can't think. I think it's contradictory. I can't think of it right now. But I see quite a few people actually want that feat gone. But hear me out. I'm going to say this for another video. I'm going to just say this. I think it should stay in the game because it gives the diversity that the community has been asking for. I actually did put a poll out at least 3 times. People asking for diversity, and everybody wants diversity. But when you get it, you guys complain about it. You shouldn't complain about it. But that's not the aspect that I'm talking about. The aspect I'm talking about is actually how he's actually played and the ratio that he gives revenge versus the damage. I'm going to just go back to what I said earlier, where you have the double bashes from a light. That's already at least 53 to possibly 60 damage. And there is really nothing that someone can do about that because if you dodge one, you get hit with the other from another guy. You know what I'm saying? We're not even tacking on. We played the game enough. 24 hours in, we already know that this guy, he feeds no revenge. That's the whole issue. He feeds no revenge. I mean, we're all getting I think we're all on the same page here where he's fun to play, but when you start getting jumped and it's just bash after bash after bash after leap, and it's like, okay, at what point am I going to be able to block an attack here? I mean, he's not even throwing physical attacks most of the time. It's just bashes. Like, it's cool. Don't get me wrong, it's cool. But, I mean, at what point do I get revenge? Because it's like, dude, he's just bashing me. But if I use any other character and I bash that much, it's revenge out the ass. It just seems like he gets an indirect type of upgrade for the character because he gets revenge just like everybody else on the same pacing. But when he goes to start swinging, he gets to go in his combos, dude. If you get 2 guys who are in a party and they know what they're doing, you don't even need to know any 100 to zeros, which is I do think he has some pretty good ones. I found some pretty good chains that work together that do a lot, but I haven't tried a full 100 to 0. I just kind of did something here and there in the game, and it kind of started working out, so I've been doing it. But when that guy he gets going on his combos, there's no indicators for you to parry, if that makes sense. Like, you're not getting your red indicator to parry or red indicator to deflect or block. It's just bash, bad up, guard break, feint, bash. He just wants to throw a light just so he can get into the bash. Like, you're not gonna get anything into, you know what I'm saying? It starts becoming very frustrating because what I end up doing was I switched to Shinobi because I wanted to see how fast I can adapt to him from swapping characters. And the first 2 matches I actually did struggle a lot because I'm getting ganked and I'm actually not getting revenge. So it's not like a 100 to 0 because I'm actually able to move, in a sense. I'm able to move and dodge around, but I'm not really getting any indicators to block. It's just all orange unblockable bashes. That's really what it is. You can't parry a bash. So it's nothing that the developers did because they did make the character the way to be gankers. It says in the description they made him to be ganker. But I think that he needs to feed more revenge. If you're doing 50 damage like that, there's no way. There's no way in hell that I'm not getting revenge, dude. There's no way. Where's the revenge? Is it on vacation? Because it ain't working. Like, what what am I supposed to do? I mean, I get it. Just dodge, or someone's gonna be in the comment. You're playing Shinobi. Just don't play Shinobi. Okay, we got it. You got the jokes. You hate the Shinobi. We got it. But I mean, what do you want me to do, dude? I mean, I don't know, dude. I think that's the real, for me at least, that I'm seeing consistently every match is I'll be ganking someone. And I'm like, dude, that's crazy. He got no revenge. Like, he's just getting torched. And you'll see guys, they'll be like, wow. Yeah, wow is right, because you just got hit with 81 damage and there was no revenge for you to do anything. So as far as that has to be for me. I think after this, he's going to get a nerf. They're going to have him feed more revenge. They're probably going to nerf the bash damage a little bit. They're probably going to space out the timing. I think that is it. They might even take away the follow-up light after some of his bash, after his missed bash. I think they're going to do that. So that is at least 3 nerfs right there that I just gave you that they're going to do. They're going to do at least one of them. At least. I don't want them to butcher him where they take away the target swappable ability for the bashes, but man, he's crazy. They're gonna have to bump the revenge up. That's the minimum. If they just bump the revenge up, I'd be great. Other than that, I think the character's pretty fun. He's a pretty solid character. I don't really feel like I'm annoyed to fight against him, other than the fact that I'm just not gonna get revenge. I just go into the match knowing that revenge is on vacation, and I'm just not gonna get it. So I think that, in a sense, is probably the only thing I can say about it. So as far as 4v4s, I got him strong A, high A, possibly going into S because of just the amount of damage he's able to do right now. Me personally, I'm on the verge of even saying that he's able to completely replace Medjay. I'm going to be wild with it. I'm going to be bold with it. I'm on the verge of saying he's able to completely replace Medjay because of the amount of damage that he can do. Now, Medjay is able to completely sweep with 28 damage heavies and 32 damage heavies and 27. He's able to do all that. His ganking tool is okay, but now we have this character in, he's just way better. I think the only thing that Medjay has hanging him in the meta right now is the fact that he's able to sit here and, do the minion clearing. But this character does minion clearing pretty decently. Not as good as Medjay, but he's pretty decent with it. So my final verdict is for the duels, I have him as a strong A tier. And for the 4s currently in his state right now, I think he's a little bit too strong as far as because he's feeding revenge a lot, not feeding revenge a lot, and he's doing quite a bit of damage. I got him high A going into S tier. So that is it for me in this video. Go ahead and drop down in the comments and tell me your guys' opinion on this. I'm willing to debate this in the comments, man. I don't wrap it up for you. I don't sugar it for you. I'm just gonna get that shit to you, raw, man. Thank y'all for coming out.